cases which were rendered into rather over-dramatic narrative by an Irishman, named Conan Doyle.
Right. Okay, I'm sure you have some way to prove this.
It would be rather foolish not to have, eh? My tin box contains photographs of myself with several notable friends of the day. Dr. Freud, George Bernard Shaw, P.T. Barnum, plus my fingerprint records from Scotland Yard, signed and dated by Inspector Lestrade himself. Also in my tin box was a quantity of jewels of considerable value to help re-establish myself in this new day and age.
His stern conviction made him seem almost credible, though I was convinced he was a complete wacko.
Eureka!
Why exactly did you do all this?
I had already solved the mysteries of the 19th century, and after the death of my arch-enemy, that evil Napoleon of crime, Professor James Moriarty, life ceased to hold any fascination for me. I became morose, succumbing more and more to my major vice, injecting myself with a 7% solution of cocaine, until Watson actually feared for my life. In an effort to stimulate me, Watson introduced me to H.G. Wells, he of the time machine. Through Wells, I realized that the greatest mystery of life remained unsolved. The mystery of what would happen in the future. So, I resolved to have a look at myself and hopefully find intriguing new crimes to solve and worthy new adversaries like Moriarty.
Why San Francisco?
Distance. Moriarty's faithful henchmen are legion. I knew they might attempt to discover my whereabouts and destroy me. My housekeeper, Mrs. Hudson, had a son living in San Francisco. I engaged his family as caretakers after secretly arranging this laboratory. There, my dear. No need to be frightened. I just need some information from you.
You saved him. You brought him back to life.
Yes, she is an excellent nurse.
She's not a nurse. She's a doctor.
Really? Well. It seems that I am in your debt. Doctor?
Winslow. Amy Winslow.
Doctor. Is your husband nearby, madam?
No, he died last month.
My condolences. Then I will need your careful assistance to illuminate a detail or two. Here is what I have deduced. In June or July, about 45 years ago, a robbery and a death occurred in my laboratory. An old man who was stoop-shouldered and walked with a cane in his left hand discovered my chamber with the assistance of a boy of about 12 who wore a blue shirt and possessed very low morals. They opened the lid of the chest wherein I lay. Assuming I was dead because I was cold, they ransacked the room until they found the tin box containing my valuables and identification papers. They lit a torch and were about to set the place afire when they were surprised by a man of about 5 feet 10 inches with red hair.
Yes, my husband.
The old man drew a pistol. Your husband scuffled with it until the old man was clubbed from behind with a wine bottle by a woman of your height. The old man fell, striking his head against the brick abutment near the floor, dying instantly.
Yes.
During the fracas, the boy bolted, running awkwardly, opening a nasty wound on the back of his right hand. You and your husband saw my corpse, but finding no identification, and never having seen Captain Basil, feared opening a can of worms. So, you left the old man's body where it was for a few days. When no police investigated, you dragged him out and buried him. Then resealed the chamber, breaking up the edges.
That's exactly how it happened.
Oh, come on. How could you possibly piece all that together after 2 minutes?
It is, my dear doctor, what I do. It is my trade. So, the person who stole my papers and valuables would now be a dishonorable man of 55 to 60, with a scar on the back of his right hand and who walks awkwardly.
Why dishonorable?
Oh, come, because he never returned my papers and valuables or reported the crime. And the ambulatory awkwardness results from his club foot.
How did you guess all that after 45 years?
I never guess. It's a shocking habit, destructive to the logical faculty. And I would really have some concern about being your patient, doctor. Do you observe nothing? Oh, very well. So that you may understand my methods. You must not only see, but observe. I had carefully swept the floor of the laboratory clean before beginning my long sleep. So, Any items on it now must have accumulated since then, particularly the dust. You can easily see the undisturbed dust on the scale there is of a certain thickness. Now, that thickness represents an accumulation of 90 years. Now, here is a footprint with a subsequent accumulation of dust only half as thick as that undisturbed. Hence, it was made about 45 years ago. The same half-thickness occurs on the books thrown down, confirming the hypothesis.
All right, but...
In this footprint is a dried peony petal. And in this clime, peonies only blossom in June. This set of footprints was made by a man who shuffled slightly, indicating advancing age. Further evidenced by his use of a cane. You see the cane marks in the dust?
But stoop-shouldered?
The cane of a stoop-shouldered man will come to rest ahead of his feet because his curved back puts his shoulders and arms forward. The rest is quite obvious even to the most casual observer. That blackened circle on the ceiling there shows that a torch was lighted. Indeed, its remnants can be seen stamped out. These larger footprints indicate the entrance of a man of about 5 feet 10, Mr. Hudson, his height being deduced from the length of his stride. This tuft of red hair indicates that the old man had grabbed Mr. Hudson by the hair, and their struggle is borne out by the intermingled footprints. Getting the idea, Watson? Winslow? Now here is a much smaller footprint, and near it, a hairpin, exactly like the one Mrs. Hudson has in her hair today. And here, a fragment of the wine bottle she broke over the old man's head. Had she been any taller, she would have struck this hanging metal lampshade, which is undented. Here fell the evil old man, having drawn, but not fired, his pistol, the outline of which can be seen in the dust. The dust also tells us that he made no further movement, therefore dying instantly, until he was dragged away several days later. See the scuff marks? The passage of a few days is indicated by the fact that much blood had time to be absorbed into the porous brick floor. Mrs. Hudson, did he have any identification?
No, sir.
The edge of the chest wherein I laid has 4 distinct sets of fingerprints. And Mrs. Hudson's comment earlier, it is him, confirmed that she had seen me before. The new brickwork along the seam of the wine rack is clearly of a later construction than the rest of the house. And a careful examination of this exposed nail shows an accumulation of skin, dried blood, and a tiny piece of blue material, indicating that the escaping boy, holding the tin box thus, gouged a serious wound on the back of his right hand.
But club-footed?
Observe! Look at the boy's footprints. The right one is curved in and under. Your diagnosis, doctor, must be...
Deformity.
Brava, Winslow, brava. Isn't it rewarding to use the senses the Almighty gave us? Now then, Mrs. Hudson, is there any mail for Captain Bassett?
Yes. This was the only letter, sir.
It's postmarked London, 1899. I hope you don't ever again know such despair. If you do, this letter maybe will help you reach some peace. You always managed before when troubled, you can again. Slumber, rest yourself, but also remember H and naturally M send support. Is there anyone in all of America whom you take as a friend? Care for yourself. It's signed
My brother, Mycroft.
Then for the first time, a tiny crack appeared as he realized.
My late brother. Well, this explains everything. The old man with the cane was Henry Moriarty, come to avenge his despicable brother, James Moriarty, who had died by my hand. And knowing the ties that bind the evil Moriarty clan, the club-footed youth was probably his grandson. Given his family background, he's not only dishonorable, but profoundly dangerous.
Excuse me, but how do you get that from this letter?
I'm rather surprised that Mycroft would have written in such an obvious code, knowing it might have fallen into the hands of the supremely intelligent Moriartys. You really must learn to read between the lines, my dear, or in this case, every third word.
I don't know if this will reach you before you slumber, but H.M. is in America. Take care.
Well, Mrs. Hudson has dispatched old Henry for us. But I have a theory that each person becomes the epitome of their family heritage.
From the way you describe the Moriartys, that would make this grandson the vilest, the most dangerous of all.
Precisely. Isn't it delightful? Well, shall we clean up this minor little inconvenience of mine so that I can proceed to more demanding mysteries, such as the murder by the French